Right, this is recording 3 now. Bloodily enough, as I just told you, it's recording 3. Using that term synopsis, I was successful now making this continual, and I am trying to get this into that perspective that I'm happy to have managed to dry that rust off there, stop the leaking, even if it was only a leaking gas, I stopped that the hydrogen leaking out, damp air. It would be like it used to be getting out there, you know, but it's closed now in that kind of way, hopefully. There's not as much getting out, and I'm successful in knowing that there's no water matter getting out anymore, and that it's restrained. Even if it's only the radiator that's a material factor now, it's restrained. And the radiator, it says, is closed. So we don't need another radiator tonight, but if you're sorting it out, I would recommend a new radiator in a kind of way that we can think about this. About the other one, it was rotten, the wood lights were getting out of it, is what I would have said, and it was taken off because it was damp at the bottom. So that's basically why it was damp at the bottom. And then the wood lights aren't getting out of that anymore, because hopefully there's no wood lights in it, depending on the relativity factors. Now, if you know the process of bleeding the radiators, the bottom of that was chipping, and it was chipped and cracked at the bottom. As it's chipped there, it's cracked there, shadow-wise, about the water coming out of the radiator in a certain type of way, that all that came off by my own hand in a way, just to show you that we had to know if there's any lasting damage to that internal framework issue. There's the mouse hole again. The mouse hole, we met the mouse hole in the other two, I would have said, which I can put up on a bit more internet phone credit. But that's that corner. You know now which corner it is. Just that issue there. That all that stuff can come away. I nearly knocked over that lamp behind me in that kind of way. But all that can come away once enough of that moisture has come out into a bag and dumped then. And it was that is the scene there now about how that looks. If we think about the internal framework issue there, about how that would and does work in such a way that you nail the chipboard on. If you're walling with chipboard, there's just that thing, we can integrate a TV cabinet via those skeletal boards behind that chalk board there. But that's a very, very entire solution to that. I'm very chuffed with the way I took care of it, in that way that I got water out of the kitchen radiator in the same manner of ways. There's no light here at the moment, but ideally now I'll just get back to that kitchen matter when we have more time, you know, in the daytime. But there's no ample lamping in there, just for the kind of almost huge and biblical scale with which we've defeated that kind of black mold and rising damp in that location there. But there was another couple of footages that I tried to show you. I've had a bit of thinking within that earlier sight of things that I gave, and I thought a little bit more about that architectural factor and what truthfully is possible, and basically sometimes what is not possible in any manner whatsoever to avoid in a certain type of way. But that's what that is. I'm happy to say that I have that problem itself, which could have been a great problem if it was left alone and had I gone away with that unresolved, but that's particularly how I have left that to be just on that list of things, you know. And then there's the other possibilities which we can talk about to do with the actual internal matter of what the radiator itself functions as, and the hot water only with that specific manner, the hot water that should get into the radiator by one means or another, you know. And it'd be just that kind of issue that I'd have to take that matter up about what that thermostat, for example, for that closure, the thermostat behind the fireplace, heating the water and sending the water through that radiator, and it would be that red stopcock issue in the boiler house, which is that other issue about the configuration, whether or not the thermostat is necessary or whether the electric will send it through. Without that kind of thermostat issue being sorted out, and whether the water can go through via the oil burner is another expenditure and another question, but it's different if you fill it up with oil to find out that the thermostat is essential. But it's not about buying the oil, for example, because the oil will only heat the water in the tank, which would be the boiler, not the burner for the boiler. Once the water in the tank is hot, for example, the water can go through the radiators, but it's not the electric timer or that how would you say it now, timer on a separate switch. The luminous timer in the kitchen is a different timer than the one that was in the boiler, which was on two fuse trip switches, for example, and they were only re-looped in such a way that the timer came out, and it's a plug now for the moment, that I can plug in the hot water and heat up the water, and the water in the tank will be hot for a bath and for mopping and for doing the washing up, but it won't go through the radiators, which is the question about that thermostat and about why it's not going through the radiators, which is a matter to do with both showers and the plumbing loop about the water going into the showers anyway. So the plumbing of the radiators has to be in some way linked to the plumbing which attaches both shower cycles, and the oil burner, however, that has its function on heating the water, and how that oil burner does in terms work in conjunction with the electric loop. For example, in theory, the burner is a different fuse switch than the electric timer. So there were two manners or methods of heating the water, one of them being the electric timer and the other being the timer for the oil burner to go on and off, however that would work. About one of them or both of them not working together, or you're burning the oil in terms with both fuses on so that the electricity heats the water. Would that work like that?